For over a century, the rules of ultra-luxury watchmaking were rigidly enforced. Value was determined by centuries of heritage and a heavy reliance on precious metals. Legacy houses like Patek Philippe spent generations perfecting delicate, highly intricate craftsmanship that required precise internal geometry to operate. Then you look at a Richard Mille. There are no flashy gold bands or diamond-encrusted bezels. Instead, you see a completely exposed, skeletonized dial that looks exactly like lab equipment. Yet, despite lacking hundreds of years of Swiss heritage and ignoring the standard use of precious jewels, this watch carries a staggering price tag. In some cases, it costs more than a Rolls-Royce or even a private island. In the late 1990s, Richard Mille looked at the rigid rules of the Swiss watchmaking elite and completely discarded them. He set out to build a timepiece inspired purely by extreme machines. To understand how a watch without diamonds commands a multi-million-dollar price tag, we have to tear down and examine the anatomy of the modern world's ultimate status symbol. If we crack open the construction of these watches, you won't find traditional jewelry elements. Instead, the underlying design philosophy pulls directly from the worlds of aviation and space exploration. Most luxury timepieces use stainless steel, but Richard Mille utilizes graphene-infused titanium, roughly 200 times stronger. The manufacturing is just as extreme. Production data for Sapphire cases shows heating aluminum oxide to 2,000 degrees Celsius, taking over 1,000 hours per unit. The result of that massive expenditure of energy is a housing that is almost entirely scratch-proof, visually transparent, and physically stronger than any metal case on the market. Standard luxury watches roll off production lines rapidly to meet global demand. But a Richard Mille timepiece requires extreme, months-long hand assembly, with watchmakers spending hundreds of hours engineering single movements. A multi-million-dollar investment here pays for the bleeding edge of material science and hyper-precision engineering. Standard luxury watches are inherently delicate items. You do not wear a multi-million-dollar timepiece to go skydiving or play full-contact sports. Yet, Rafael Nadal famously wears a $1 million Richard Mille strapped to his wrist during high-stakes, full-speed tennis matches. During those matches, the internal mechanics seamlessly absorb massive kinetic forces. The watch endures extreme sweat, violent wrist jerks, and the shockwaves of 130-mile-per-hour serves. We see the exact same durability in motorsports. Formula One drivers like Charles Leclerc wear them directly inside the cockpit, subjecting the mechanisms to intense G-forces while racing at 300 kilometers per hour. But the ultimate test of their engineering is the absolute shock limit. These watches survive impacts of up to 5,000 Gs, a concussive force stronger than the ejection seat of a fighter jet. They built a wearable anomaly. It operates with the indestructible physics of aerospace engineering, acting effectively like a Formula One car built for the wrist. But the physical engineering is only half the equation. Even if you have $50 million sitting in your checking account right now, you cannot simply walk into a boutique and buy one. While prominent legacy watchmakers produce tens of thousands of units annually, Richard Mille restricts global output to just 5,000. Furthermore, this tiny inventory operates on a strict invite-only gatekeeping system, ensuring only the ultra-elite are granted the opportunity to purchase. Because access is so fiercely restricted, the world's most famous musicians and billionaires happily wear them in public. They become highly visible, entirely unpaid marketers for the brand. By starving the market of supply and locking the doors to everyday buyers, the watch ceases to be a functional consumer good. It transforms into a highly visible VIP pass for an untouchable social class. Look at the specific individuals who secure these pieces. It is the uniform of top-tier athletes at the absolute peak of their global influence. And we see the exact same adoption among the world's most powerful tech titans. They use the timepiece to project modern dominance, actively avoiding the quiet aesthetics of old world money. Seeing that exposed, skeletonized dial on someone's wrist communicates a specific level of capital that bypasses traditional luxury. That is the modern definition of luxury. The highest forms of value no longer rely on heritage or a dial covered in diamonds. They rely entirely on the untouchable perception of power. By engineering a piece of technology that is nearly impossible to destroy, and pairing it with an inventory model that is nearly impossible to access, Richard Mille proved that price ceilings simply do not exist.